Princess Leia's backstory has been explored fairly extensively in both canon and Legends material, but George Lucas's very first ideas for the character outside of the original Star Wars were recorded in August 1977, shortly after the movie's release. Today, I'm going to run through Lucas's thoughts, and we'll see how they continue to inform how we see Leia over 40 years later. In order to provide more details about his characters after Star Wars came out, George was interviewed as C-3PO, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. You can find these notes in the fantastic book The Making of Star Wars by J.W. Rinsler. But speaking as Leia, Lucas said, "I was brought up in a rather well-to-do family. I have two brothers, much younger than I am. One is 4 and one is 7. My parents are in their 50s. My father was one of the senators from the Alderaan system. He was very kind, he was strict in his own way, but he was very fair. He had a very gentle heart, and I loved him a great deal. My mother was well-educated, the head of several relief organizations, beautiful and warm." The Alderaan system actually consists of 7 planets. Alderaan was the capital planet of that system. There was a Senate, and my father was the president of that Senate. I've been in school since I was 2 years old, and I've been trained by the finest minds in the Alderaan system. Most people on the planet get a good education, but mine was not really typical because I was exceptionally bright and I was sent to the advanced schools. If you're gifted, you go on to the gifted schools. So I'm used to taking charge of situations. I've overseen several kinds of operations, governmental and mercy mission types of things, ever since I was 7 years old. I have an ability for organization and command. Now I am a senator. So there are some pretty major differences between what we know now and Lucas's initial ideas. I want to be clear, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. He was doing this off the cuff, and storytelling changes as you develop it. But the mention of Leia having 2 much younger brothers is interesting. There are several other moments throughout Rinsler's book that suggest Leia was never meant to be Luke's twin sister this early in the story. I believe the parents Lucas mentions in this interview were her biological parents at this point. But I do think it's interesting that Leia's description of her mother stays true. She was well-educated, the head of several relief organizations, beautiful and warm. To be fair, that describes Leia Organa and Padme Amidala, but the description reminds me of the way Leia talks about the memory of her biological mother in Return of the Jedi. We also see that Alderaan was just one of 7 planets in the system. People have asked me what Leia was the senator of in the New Republic if Alderaan was gone. We've known this answer for a while, that there were several other planets and systems in that sector of space, but Lucas had that in his mind very early on. The rest seems pretty straightforward and consistent. Her gifted upbringing and advanced education. Lucas has said in other interviews that Leia basically had a doctorate-level education by the time of A New Hope, and of course, she was very gifted as a leader. That all makes me think about how she decided to end her Jedi training with Luke, not just because of her son, but also because she felt she would better serve the galaxy as a politician. And I actually think that's a very Jedi thing to do in a way, to recognize your strengths and where they would be best put to use to make the galaxy a better place. Just a reminder, if you want to read Lucas's notes not just for Leia, but also Han, 3PO, and more, they're near the end of J.W. Rinsler's excellent book, The Making of Star Wars. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.